About this serious coronavirus thing. I mean, Bronwyn, you've been in the health space, you understand stuff, you've seen things come and go. This is serious. When we were talking last week, we said, I'm sure it's going to get serious. But we're now starting to see and starting to hear things out of China, which concerns me greatly. The Chinese government are all about propaganda, all about trying to keep the story away from people, all about trying to control the message. And now, this evening, the news that they're actually running around basically spraying the streets with Dettol to kill the coronavirus. That's what we think is in the spray they're splashing around. This thing is a disaster and we don't know the true story.
Thing I think we have to do is take it as a wake-up call. We have now become totally dependent on a totally socialist economy, China. Because we're not a free enterprise economy here, it will hurt us even more badly. Now, we can't afford to go on being dependent. We have to realise that what has happened with this virus, the Chinese government could do it to us at any time it wished. And we have to diversify. We have to find new markets for ourselves. We have to find new people by way of students. We have to completely take this as a wake-up call. Because we've now locked ourselves into the Paris Agreement, which means that we've choked our manufacturing off, with competition is at an all-time low. We've got government picking winners and losers. We must take a wake-up call, and we must realise that China will never tell us the truth. And indeed, we don't know how many people have died in China. And if you look at what a socialist government does to a country, look what President Xi is doing to China. He wants to be president for life. Look at what Stalin did to Russia. It's the same thing, and the people will suffer. And it's the Chinese people I feel so sorry for, because it was Stalin simply starved people to death, Mao starved people to death. We don't know what methods will be used to get rid of some of these people. You've got millions of people locked down about which we know nothing. And the one doctor who we hear today who tried to tip them off in the beginning, he's now dead. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think anything you've said is an overstatement. I mean, Senator Rennick, this is the problem. Australia is very prone. I mean, I said it in my opening comments tonight that we don't have a big vision for this country. We don't have a 20 years from now, this is what we're going to be kind of thing. We have no imagining about water. We are still locked into a 1960s view about nuclear power. I mean, on all sorts of fronts, Australia is prone. Our retail sector is hurting at the moment because of a virus that's inflicting dreadful hurt on 11 million people in Wuhan. I mean, this is a real problem.
Yeah, OK, thanks, Gary. A couple of things probably we should mention is next week we'll be signing a free trade agreement with Indonesia. And we're looking at signing a free trade agreement with India as well. So the government is taking active steps to diversify its economy and reduce its reliance just on China. But, you know, we should acknowledge that a lot of the prosperity in the last 20 years has been the growth of our trade relationship with China. We've also taken the coronavirus very seriously. We've banned non-citizens from entering Australia if they're coming from China. And we've also asked our citizens to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. And some of them are on Christmas Island, and we're looking at putting them on the mines and things like that. As for a vision, I know that many members of the caucus, in the coalition caucus, are looking at building dams. A lot of us are pro-nuclear, and we definitely feel the way forward is more income tax cuts, which will increase demand, and a lot more infrastructure, especially in the way of dams, power stations, transmission lines, and the other thing with dams is they can also provide a source of hydro energy, which sort of keeps both sides happy in my view, because not only will you get clean energy, you'll also bring energy and prosperity to the regions, which for me is a win-win.
Yeah, no, I think you're on something there. I mean, Gideon, Rozner, I mean, the idea of diversifying our market reach makes perfect sense. Bronwyn Bishop's right. We become incredibly reliant. Lazy, I would say. Lazy. There are courses at universities that are not actually set unless they're filled up with 80% of foreign students from mainly China. China's been a terrific income stream for us, and we are exposed. We are fully exposed in this country.
Yeah, well, in terms of the viability of our tertiary sector, it is wholly reliant, or largely reliant, on that great visa scam that is 21st century international education. It's causing huge problems for the sector and it's causing huge amounts of dissatisfaction among staff at universities, quite frankly, who can't keep up. So that's one issue that needs to be mitigated. But secondly, on a broader topic, Bronwyn is absolutely right. We cannot be economically dependent on the Communist Party of China and the People's Republic of China any longer. It is compromising our values, it is compromising our outlook as a nation. But the problem we have, though, Gary, is that, as you said, we are so complacent economically in this country. And by we, I mean, of course, the people, the collective political class running the country. I mean, we have among the highest rates of company tax in the world, and Malcolm Turnbull couldn't even sell cutting them. Income tax is obscenely high despite the Morrison government's changes. Red tape is costing the country $176 billion a year. People cannot even decide what to do on their own farms and land because of things like native vegetation law. If we're serious about diversifying our economy, it has to be an economy that people actually want to invest in and want to buy things from, because at the moment we are not match fit in terms of global competition.